Good evening, everyone. So I had just posted a couple videos, and a lot of people, when bad things happen to them, want to know why, right? Or like in my case, I'm always right place, right time. I don't know why. So I think I just figured it out. So when we first came here to Tucson, Arizona, we lived on the east side, and and my daughter was attending a school in it was strange. So we were out somewhere, and somebody gave me a coupon to a McDonald's for a free sundae. And my daughter said to me was, we can use that coupon on the night of my recital. It was it was around Christmas time, and it was still hot. It hadn't rained in a while, and so I told her, I don't think so. It doesn't feel right. When the guy handed me the McDonald's coupon, it just didn't feel right to me, and I didn't use it. So the night of her recital, afterwards, she said, let's go use that coupon. And I was so freaked out. My body was just nervous. And I said to her, I don't think so. I asked her if we could go the next night. And she's like, no. And I was like, okay. So we got to the parking lot, and I said to her was, you can't play in the play area. And you have to stay right by me. I don't want you to leave my side. So it was strange though. For months, I was telling her, if the McDonald's ever robbed and you're playing in their playhouse, do not leave that play area. Hide yourself inside that thing. And I just thought it was strange. I was always telling her, you know, I don't care where we were. I mean, you know we're being robbed. You're not with me. Please stay away from me. Just stay hiding wherever you are and don't come out. So, so we walked in, and one of the fryer air ducts was broken, and I said right away to the person at the counter to lock the doors and just use the drive-through. And I asked to speak to a manager right away. I mean, the whole room was just full of smoke. And I said to him was, you know, you should, I told him he needed to lock the doors and don't let anybody else in and use the drive-through. And I told him why. I felt like he was going to be robbed. And he told me, he just looked at me like I was crazy. I know he did, because, I mean, he was, I know that something was going to happen, I just didn't know what. But I knew it wasn't going to be good. So he just ignored me. So my daughter and I walk out the door, and two men walk in. And I was out in the parking lot calling headquarters, asking them to close that dining room. I was trying to protect, there was a woman in there with two children, and they were off to the side. So here's the counter, and they were off to the left, and there were them. I don't remember seeing anybody else in the dining area, but they were eating their food, so they were all together. And so I was outside, and I was calling headquarters, and I let them know they were going to be robbed. I asked the manager to lock the doors. So a couple days later, I'm in my own community where I live, and this woman comes up to me, and I'm sitting at the tables, and she said, "You're correct, we were robbed right after you and your daughter left." And I was flabbergasted, but I knew that something bad was going to happen there. That specific location is not open anymore, and I'm thankful nobody got hurt. Um, so I, you know, I have friends. Things happen to them, and they don't know why. Right? It took me years to understand why. You know, I've been walking with the Lord when He called me for some time. But He just showed me something else. So we were living northeast, and I was at a hardware store here in town, and I started something wasn't right. I was looking around, you know, just wasn't right. Something didn't go right. And my daughter says in front of the cashier, "You acted the same way when you knew that McDonald's was going to get robbed." And the lady just looks at her and and holds her breath back. And I said to her, "It's not here. It's not at this location, but it's somewhere around here. It's probably going to happen." And so we walked home, and I was nervous all the way home, like I was not myself. And there was a store robbed in the middle of the night. When I walked by the next day, the whole front window was missing, and they stole all those phones. It was when that new iPhone came out, and I was floored. Like, I'm not kidding. I mean, I would give holy cards to places, and they were robbed. So I think I'm picking up the bad person. Just like when I made that painting X marks the spot, and then it turned out it was the person that lived above us who was spying on us. I mean, I can't explain it, but when I first came here, it was a lot. I was delivering a lot of those cards. And then, like, I'd be certain places, and I would ask military guys, when are they leaving to the Iraq War? And I would have the exact cards I needed for them so they could use it to pray. I mean, there was a lady at my daughter's school. I never knew her from Adam. And I went right up to the passenger door, and I asked her, "When will your brother be leaving for war?" She said, "In a couple weeks." And I said, "No, it's sooner." And she said, "No." I said, "Yeah." And then I got him 2 cards, and they were holy cards. And I put them in an envelope, and I said, "You need to send this to him right away. He needs to get him blessed before he gets shipped out." And when he opened it, he had been looking for that card everywhere. It was the Sacred Heart of Mary and the Sacred Heart of Jesus on one card. Father showed me something else, too. There was something else. When Faye disappeared, there was a lady who was heartbroken. She went out and looked for her. She was heartbroken. So I told her somebody she knew. And the lady looked at me like I was crazy, like mistreated me and would never speak to me again. Well, it came on the news that it was her neighbor. So it is what it is. I mean, I don't know how I know. I just know I know. You know, and I stay home a lot because I don't like that. You know, I don't know what they look like, but I know something's going to happen in that area. And so I just stay away from it. You know, and once I start picking up things, I start praying. That's how I've been, you know, working through it. I mean, I've had friends. So there was, when I was in school, I was taking classes at the library for math. And I wanted to go to a store down the street, but something kept telling me no, and my legs were like lead. I couldn't walk. So I just went back to my room and, you know, and just worked. And I didn't do anything. So when we'd be leaving, cops, yellow tape all around. We just got robbed, you know, an hour earlier because, I mean, we had enough break time where I could get there and back, but not that day. I had a social worker once, but I didn't know about any of that until later, but something was telling me to go get my daughter from school early, and I would go get her a couple times. Finally, they showed up at the house. And on the day that she was supposed to go to school, she wouldn't go. I even called the counselors. I'm like, she doesn't want to come in. I don't know what's wrong. And so the social worker, she came to my house. And then everything went on from there. And then after that incident, I was walking down the street, and something told me to go to the other side of the street, the total opposite corner. Here comes this car flying up the street, and all these cop cars are following him, right? So Father always made sure I was protected from those things. So I just, I'm really floored right now. Like, I'm starting to realize I'm picking up the bad people. That's crazy. But, I've been talking to my friend that you may not know what happened to you that night, but it will come to you. It will. It is, my father started walking me back, like, showing me things. I'm floored. I don't know. It explains a lot of things, even since I was a kid. I mean, that guy who came to my window, I said, no, you better go. If my dad finds you here, he's going to whack you. I think I was 8 or 9. I was so scared of my dad, I wouldn't dare. He came to my window in the middle of the night and was talking to me. And I'm like, you better go. He was cute, too. I thought he was really handsome. No way. I was too afraid of my dad. I'm thankful. Man, am I thankful. I didn't go. It just blows my mind. When I was a kid, something happened to me. And I never told anybody. Nobody knows. And but I was a little too trusting. I was locked up in a room. But he did bring me home. But every time I see him coming, or I had a feeling he was, going to show up, I'd go home. It was super weird. But the Lord, He will pay him. So I'm not worried about that. And I was young enough. Later in life, I fixed that part. But yeah, that's amazing. That blows my mind. So when I attracted to those narcissists, manipulators, the bad guys, it was because that's what I was attracted to, was bad people. And I didn't realize what happened. I fell for them. I was like, what is wrong with you? But I always knew what they were up to. Like, I knew in my body. But, as soon as they mistreated me, that was it. Gone. That blows my mind. It's a lot. I'm going to, hang out for a while. Alright, peace. I'll leave that with you guys. And God bless.